I'd like to call the order of the Pleasant Grove City Council on this Tuesday, June the 7th, 2022, and welcome all the council members here this evening and also staff that has joined us, and also several people from the public have joined us, and also those who have joined us virtually. We welcome you all this evening for our first meeting in June. We'll start out with a Pledge of Allegiance from our fire department. We'll have Chief Ingerman please come forward and give the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll have opening remarks from Councilmember Todd Williams. Chief.
Our dear Father in heaven, as we come before Thee at the beginning of our city council meeting, we wish to thank Thee, Father, for the beauties and the liberties that we receive in this wonderful land, in this beautiful state, in this wonderful city of Pleasant Grove. We ask Thee to bless us, that we may be in tune with Thy will, that we will remember the residents who are here, who have confidence and faith in us making the right choices for them, and we represent them well. Help us that we will always have Thee in mind and the beauties of the knowledge that we have. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Todd. First off here, we need approval of our meeting agenda. Do we have any? I don't think we have any.
No changes.
Nothing to change, so I ask for a motion to approve our meeting agenda.
Mayor, make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to our open session this evening and invite anybody in our audience here to come forward and address the council at this time.
My name is Rich Guernsey. Lived here for 30 years. I first want to say we had a family reunion on Saturday, and I reserved the Veterans Memorial Park for the family reunion. This is my parents' family who have been deceased for 10 and 20 years. But the first time that I've been able to get together with myself and my siblings, all of our kids and all of our grandkids. We had probably 60 or 70 people in attendance at this thing at the Veterans Park. We purchased a pass so the kids could go swimming. And I was put in charge of a pickleball tournament. Now, I have never played pickleball before, but it turned out to be a great success using the city's new pickleball courts, which are right there next to the Veterans Park. It was fantastic. We had a wonderful time, and I have become a fan of pickleball. And my daughter now has challenged my wife and I. My daughter and my grandson have challenged my wife and I to a rematch tomorrow night. That we will beat them this time.
It's addictive.
I see that. Anyway, the first part of my comments, I just want to again express my thanks to the city. This is a wonderful place to live, and you know I have lived in a lot of different places, being in the military, and it's good to come home to a place that feels like home and find a community that cares about their citizens and has the amenities that make it a nice place to live. Now, I want to talk about another issue. It's the metering of the secondary water. And I know this is a contentious issue, and I know it's something that has been mandated by the state, and it's not something that the city can really do anything about other than just go and comply. I think you're aware I own 5 acres, and the majority of the time we've owned it has been an orchard. About half of the property has been apples, and the other half has been peaches. You know, while I've been gone, all the peaches died because they don't handle neglect nearly as well as apples do, but the apples are still thriving. Now, about 20 years ago or so, when the city got the secondary water, I spent about $15,000 and put sprinklers in the orchard and watered the orchard off of the secondary water rather than using the Pleasant Grove Irrigation Company flood irrigation, because, sprinkling, what I do with the sprinklers, I use probably 1/10 as much water as I do with the flood irrigation. And I rent the water back to the city. Well, when this thing came out about metering the secondary water, it caused me some concern. Oh, my time is up.
No, you're good. Keep going, because
It caused me some concern.
you were complimenting us at the first, so we don't count that. So anyway,
Because if I'm charged the normal residential rates, it's going to be horrifically expensive to continue watering the orchard using secondary water. So this last year, I went back to the Pleasant Grove Irrigation Company and the city, and I said, hey, I want my water back. I'm going to start doing the flood irrigation again, because I'm sure I won't be able to afford to do it with the secondary water. And come to find out, with the development, there's no way to get the water to my property any longer. So I'm kind of stuck with the secondary irrigation water to water the orchard. And I just want to suggest that as we go through the process of determining the rates for secondary water, that there's a rate specifically for orchards that is not the same as the residential rate. That's all I have to say.
okay. And I think we'll work on that, because I've had other people talk to me, farmers that have gone off the irrigation and are using it, and they says, how's this going on? I says, I'm sure there'll be a different rate for farmland
Okay.
than the residential lawn water.
Yeah, and by the way, we were able a few years ago to get our property designated as a RAO, residential agricultural overlay. So even though the city isn't, or the development is encroaching upon us, we've got a 5 or actually a 7-acre area with my neighbors kind of carved out, that we can still have a sense of a rural farm community atmosphere.
Yeah, thanks for asking for that, so, okay. Anyone else like come forward and address the council? Okay, we'll close our open session and then move on to item number 6, our consent items this evening, which include our council minutes from our May 17th, 2022 meeting, and to consider for approval payment request number 4 with J. Lynn Roberts and Sons for the Manila Pond Booster Station project. C, to consider approval of payment request number 2 for Kodiak Construction Incorporated for the 1100 North Street and Utility Improvement Project. And D, to consider approval of change order number 2, payment request number 2 for Kodiak Construction for the 800 North Storm Drain Project. And E, to consider approval for payment approval reports for the May 19th and the June 2nd, 2022. So with that, I'd ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent items as read by you.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Anderson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have one board commissioner appointment this evening. We like to consider for an appointment of Marty Brumont and Craig Bilker as Metropolitan Water District of Pleasant Grove board members. And I think they're both here this evening. Is that, is Craig here too also?
I don't think
Or just Marty?
Just Marty.
Would you want to come up, Marty, and introduce yourself?
Are we sure Marty's qualified? I know.
So Marty, we thank you for them submitting your name, and you'll be a great asset, both of you, these new appointments on the water board there.
Happy to serve with you again in that role on the board. Enjoyed it thoroughly for the last 7 years with Public Works, and water is a very, very important resource of which I'm passionate about. I've loved, that's my passion in the engineering field, is water, dealing with water design, and so I'll enjoy serving on that board with the other board members that I'm familiar with. So looking forward to it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, it'll get you back down in your old conference room every once in a while.
Can't wait.
Okay.
And
thank-
there's nobody I would have more faith in than Marty being there, so I'm so grateful.
Thanks,
Great to
Marty.
serve with you guys again. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Marty.
So with that, I need a motion for these two appointments.
I'd make a motion that we approve the appointments of Marty Bowman and Craig Vinker as Metropolitan Water District of Pleasant Grove Board members.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We don't have any presentations this evening. We'll move on to our one public hearing for this evening, which is a public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2022-15 to apply the general commercial zone CG to approximately 2.60 acres of property zoned in rural residential RR located 1230 West State Street, Mudhole neighborhood. And we'll have our city engineer, Aaron.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you. This is a kind of a continuation of some past rezones that we've been doing along State Street to extend our commercial area. This particular one is directly south of Mount Mahogany Elementary, or just right across the street from the Christensen trucking, used trucks. We've had them come into DRC, and they have several concepts that they're looking at and proposing there, but this is just that rezone so that it makes it possible for them to do that.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Okay, thank you. With that, I'll open up our public hearing and invite anybody to come forward and address the council on this on ordinance 2022-15. Anybody like to come forward? See no one coming forward, so we'll now close our public hearing and bring it back up to the council for an action, for a motion.
And
To adopt ordinance 2022-15 to apply the general commercial zone to approximately 2.6 acres of property currently zoned rural residential located at 1230 West State Street.
I have a motion by Councilmember Williams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will be a roll call vote, and we'll start off with Councilmember Anderson.
yes,
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
yes,
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We'll now move on. That finishes our public hearings for this evening. Now move on to our action items ready for vote, which include 10A, consider the request of Robert Isaac Bingham to be exempted from the installation of infrastructure and connections for the required pressurized irrigation system, secondary water, on approximately 2.73 acres of property zoned single-family residential R120 and approximately located at 1585 North Murdoch Drive in the Big Springs neighborhood. And we'll turn back to our city engineer.
Mayor and members of the council, this is a situation that has been kind of going back and forth and on the books for a while. We have a spring that is in the city called the Wade Springs, and this gentleman has some water rights that are associated with that spring, and it's much more water right than he could use on his property. And so of his own volition, he has been donating that water back to the city. He has a pipe that brings that water to his property. He uses the water as he needs it, and then everything that's in excess just flows by, and the city has basically free use of that. And so this petition was to kind of clear things up, put things to bed once and for all. It sounds like he's had some very frustrating issues in the past where he was, told that everything was handled and taken care of, and maybe it hasn't been. And so this is kind of going through that formal process to allow him an exception to be able to use this water.
Any questions from the council on this?
No.
Thank you, Aaron. If not, I ask for a motion.
I'd make a motion to consider a request of Robert Isaac Bingham to be exempt for the installation of infrastructure connections for the required pressurized irrigation system on approximately 2.73 acres of property zone single-family residential located at approximately 1584 North Murdoch Drive.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second?
A second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now move to 10B to consider for the request of the Amplify Works LLC for a final subdivision plat called Sunny Cove Estates Plat B on 12.15 acres approximately located at 2150 North, 270 East in the R120 Single Family Residential Zone, Big Springs neighborhood. And we'll turn the time back over to our city engineer.
Mayor, members of the council, this application is before you. It actually has come before you as a complete application in the past. So this is items B and C. I'm going to talk about those together for a minute. I think it'll kind of wrap things together. This came to you and it was been approved as a single subdivision, and the applicant has decided that he wanted to switch that up and just have it be kind of phased, or a phasing plan. And because you guys approve those, then normally a two-lot subdivision wouldn't come to you, it would be approved by me, but because you had previously approved it, we felt it was necessary to bring both of the subdivision plats back to you for your approval in the phasing plan and the way that that he has requested that it be phased, and so that is what we have before you.
Any questions? Not ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion on this one. Should I do B and C, or just
It's B.
B?
Yep.
It's,
Just do
These are separate.
You do B, I'll do C.
okay, let's, so guys, I'll make a motion to approve a two-lot final subdivision plat called Sunny Cove Estates Plat B on 12.15 acres, approximately located at 2150 North, 270 East in the R120 zone.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to 10C. Consider for request by Amplify Works LLC for a 5-lot final subdivision plat called Sunny Grove Estate C on 8.79 acres, approximately located at 2150 North and east of 270 East in the Estate C R120 Single Family Residential Zone, Big Springs neighborhood. Engineer.
Mayor, members of the council, so this is, again, this similar plat that I talked about. The only condition that I would ask that you add to your motion with this one, we would recommend approval, but the condition we would ask that you add to this is that the applicant get the approval of the canal companies for the easements that are necessary. And that was part of the original approval of the original plat that we had, but we want to make sure that we have that that condition under your in your motion.
Any questions on our 5-lot final subdivision plat? If not, ask for our motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion for the request of Amplify Works LLC for a 5-lot final subdivision plat called Sunny Cove Estates Plat C on 8.79 acres, approximately located at 2150 North and 270 East. It's written a little different here, in the R120 Single Family Residential, with the condition of them getting the approval from the canal company. Does that work?
For easements.
That will work. With that, we have a motion. Do I have from Councilmember Jensen? Do I have a second?
Second,
Second for Councilmember
Anderson.
Anderson, excuse me. And so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now move to 10D to consider for the request of Jackson Jones for a 6-lot final subdivision plat called Loader Estates Plat B on 2 acres, approximately located at 1018 East, 300 South in the R19 Single Family Residential Zone, Scratch Gravel neighborhood. And we'll turn to our engineer again, Aaron.
Mayor, members of the council, so this is again, a continuation of an existing subdivision plat. Mr. Jones had a plat that was approved here that was just a single lot with a leftover parcel, and he's decided that it's now time for him to finish that development off. And so he's brought forth a proposal for this that will kind of finish off that development, and it will also finish that 11, or the one, yeah, it's 1100 East is the road so it'll now connect through there, so there'll be a lot better connectivity in that area, and kind of finish that area off.
Any other
And
questions?
we recommend approval.
Any other questions for our engineer?
No, but I need to recuse myself because I have clients interested in this property.
It's her hood.
Okay,
And it borders my property as well, so.
so noted. So with that, I ask for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion for the request of Jackson Jones for a 6-lot final subdivision plat called Loader Estates Plat B on 2.0 acres, approximately located at 1018 East, 300 South in the R19 Single Family Residential Zone.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Anderson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to 10E, which is a resolution, adoption of a resolution 2022-031, adjusting the common boundary with the city of Cedar Hills, Utah, authorizing a public hearing thereon and providing for notice of said hearing and proposed area adjusted in a portion of the parcel number 14-003-0411 located in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and providing for an effective date. We'll turn it over to our Public Works Director.
The Dolls acquired this property via deed transfer. Their property is currently in Cedar Hills. The property boundary goes out to the center line of the canal. And so this cleans up for them that their properties that they hold will all be in Cedar Hills. This doesn't affect or harm Pleasant Grove City. And in fact, we've been able to secure an additional access easement to the canal through this process, so there's a benefit that way.
Any other questions for our Director? If not, ask for a motion on 2022-031 resolution.
Mayor, make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-031 as read by you.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Jensen. And this will be a roll call vote, and we'll start off with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams. Yes. Thank you. Motion carries.
We don't usually let people out of our city that easily. I know.
Okay. Now move on to 10F, to consider for adoption Resolution 2022-032, amending the personal policies and procedures previously approved by the City Council, specifically amending Section X7V1 and leave of absence, and Section 3 holiday leave, and providing for an effective date. And we'll turn the time over to our City Administrator.
Thank you. We recently had a new holiday that's been instituted by the federal government, as a federal holiday and as a state holiday. This holiday, once the state designated as a holiday, according to our policy manual, if the city were to recognize that, the current policy reads, any day designated by the governor as a state holiday will be observed for holiday leave, meaning we close City Hall, we close city services that are normally open. Now, police and fire are still going to be doing their thing, and it would be a paid day off. So if we have this new holiday and if we want to observe it, then if the city council is willing to observe it, then we don't change our policy. If the city council would not like to observe it, then we need to make this change to our policy manual. Any questions?
Questions, council?
Nope.
No questions? Thank you.
I mean, I'd like to observe it. Is that the question?
Well, if,
Are we
if
deciding
the
that?
council's okay to observe it, then we don't take any
We don't-
action.
Okay,
If the council does not want to observe it, then we would need to take the action to take it out of our policy.
and by
manual.
observing, that's a paid day off for employees, is that correct?
Correct?
Okay, with that, I ask for a motion on resolution 2022-032.
Wait, so what are we, if we approve this, then that means that it is, we're removing the policy?
If this is approved, then this new holiday would not be observed by the city. So City Hall would still be open, employees would still be here to work.
But you could always change that again, not changing the policy, just saying you're going to observe that. Want to make that clear.
Yes, so if I want to observe the holiday, then I'm going to deny.
Correct.
I think the question here was, you know, we polled a lot of the other cities. The other cities are not observing.
There's 10 in Utah.
Well, so let me give the numbers. So with the cities that were polled, this was statewide. So statewide, probably 70%, 80% are going to be observing. What I was asked from the council was our neighboring cities are not observing. So Linden, Cedar
So we'd
Hills,
kind of made a
and Metro
decision, would look at it in another year.
That
I
was
I didn't realize it was going to be on the agenda.
Well, I mean, that
you
was the
know.
feedback, but, sorry, I believe I had let you know that if we do this, we need to change our city policy. Maybe I did not, maybe it wasn't clear that that was the case. But regardless, if, depending on what council wants to do, that would be the action that needs to be taken, so.
Yeah, my feeling is if neighboring cities, let's hold firm, and if we need to adjust it next year, then we can look at it again next year.
I'd rather,
I think from like even on private businesses, what we're given is there's a couple of floating holidays that you could observe. I'd be necessarily okay with that if somebody wanted to take a holiday in February versus June.
So according to
I
the
just
policy.
I just think we need to be similar to other cities.
I mean, personally, I could really care less what the other cities do. I think it's what we want to do as a community. And whether or not they're observing it, I think it's a significant holiday now to observe. And I want to be in line with I'd rather be in line with what the majority of Utah is doing. And sounds like a paid holiday in observance of Juneteenth.
So, yeah,
that
like I
correct?
said, statewide, yes. Our neighboring cities, no.
Okay. I ask for a motion on resolutions 2022-032.
So I make a motion that we deny resolution 2022-034.
Well, you'll do that.
Oh, wait, no, sorry.
To let this one
You'll
die.
do that in your nay vote.
Yeah.
But if I'm making the motion,
You need to let this motion die
Yeah.
that the mayor is asking for, and then if there's no motion made, then
Can't make a new motion
Got
because
it.
we have one on the table
I'm
now.
not saying anything.
Okay?
You already said it.
I've never not said anything.
Does anybody would like to make a motion? Okay, we have no motion. We have no second, so this item will die, so we'll not take any action on that. Okay, we'll move on to consider adoption of resolution 2022-033, authorizing the mayor to enter into an amendment to the 2016 interlocal Utah County CDGB agreement and providing for effective date. Back to our city administrator.
Okay, what you have in front of you is we have, there's a CDBG program, short for Community Development Block Grant. This is federal money that can be granted to cities for specific purposes. The two main purposes that we could obtain CDBG money is if we're serving a low-income population or if we're serving an elderly population. And the best example of the last time that we got a CDBG was when we did the elevator at the library. That was funded through CDBG. If we are going to request CDBG money, there's a process we go through. This money is funneled down to MAG, the Mountain Land Association of Governments, in conjunction with Utah County. And there's it's federal money, so there's a big, huge process that you go through in order to get the federal grant. And what they're doing is updating. So substantively, there's not a whole lot that's changed. The process has stayed intact, and major things in regards to that have stayed intact. Sorry, basically this initial agreement was 2016. They've asked us to update it with a couple minor amendments. So let me look at the minor amendments here real quick for you. Yeah, these are pretty minor. I mean, it essentially says we're going to cooperate with CDBG and the county government. We're going to recognize the process and follow through on the process whenever we apply for the grant.
Any other questions for our director? For our administrator? Anything? I just want to make one thing. I sit on this board to approve these grants, and would like to see Pleasant Grove name there in the future. But with that, I ask for a motion on resolution number 2022-033.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-033 as read by you.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And we'll start off with a roll call vote with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. We'll now move to 10H, to consider for adoption resolution 2022-034, appointing an individual to the Tempenoga Special Service District, Tssd Board, established in the term of said appointment and providing for an effective date. Back to our city administrator.
This resolution is to appoint Todd, or not Todd, Neil Winterton. Sorry, Todd, you don't want to be on TSSD.
He's our new.
TSSD. There you go, buddy.
I think the last thing you probably need is another meeting on Thursday nights, is to appoint Neil Winterton as our representative. Currently, John Goodman serves in that role. Neil, now that he's been our new Public Works Director, is requested to sit on the TSSD board, so this resolution would make that happen.
Okay, any other questions? So I will ask for a motion.
Mayor, I make a
Resolution
motion for
2022-034.
Adoption of resolution 2022-34, appointing an individual now known as Neil Winterton to the Tempenoga Special Services District, TSSD Board, establishing the term of said appointment and providing for an effective date.
A motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. And we'll start off with Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, we'll now move on to 10I, our last action item this evening. Consider for adoption resolution 2022-035, authorizing the mayor to sign the 2022 amended and restated sewer treatment services contract and collection maintenance agreement with Tempenoga Special Service District, TSSD, and providing for an effective date. Back to our administrator.
So we have an agreement, well, we have 3 agreements with TSSD. We have one for collection, one for treatment, and one for general operations. What TSSD would like is to combine that all into one agreement so that we don't have these 3 agreements. So they're doing this with all of their cities that are part of TSSD. There's also a couple other things being addressed. One is they want to protect from open records request where our main sewer lines tie into the TSSD system. This is for emergency management purposes, so if somebody wanted to grandma that, this agreement would protect that from being released to the public. I don't know if that's a deal or not, but it's something that TSSD feels it's in the best interest of everyone involved. This is also taking a look at the process to connect to the trunk line of TSSD. Now, for Pleasant Grove, we have 2 connections. We don't anticipate having a 3rd connection based on our build out and where we're at, but there are other communities in TSSD that are growing and they will need future connections into the TSSD trunk line. So this agreement, they've had a process in the past. It's been a informal process. They wanted to solidify that process and put it into the agreement. So if a city's going to request it, there is now a process that they go through. And then the other thing it does is it further defines the impact fees. When this agreement was initially made, impact fees were just barely in their infancy, and it's just making clear the purposes and the legalities of the district collecting an impact fee. So
Okay,
that's
is there
the
any
new
other
agreement.
questions for Scott?
Again, nothing for us really changes. We'll receive the same service as far as the treatment of our waste.
Okay. There's no other questions. I ask for a motion on Resolution 2022-035.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2022-35, authorizing the mayor to sign the 2022 amended and restated sewer treatment services contract and collection maintenance agreement with Tempenoga Special Services District, TSSD, and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Anderson. And we'll start with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Okay, that finishes all of our action items for this evening. And we'll now move back to and finish up our work session and move to our director's report. We'll go to the front this time. We'll start with Chief Roberts, if you want to come forward, if you have anything for us.
Mayor and council, I'll try to make it quick. It seems like we're on a roll here. Just an update on our social media. We've been trying to revamp it. Nova, that's important. We've been trying to get an Instagram page up. We had one. The employee that was over that left. When he left, he forgot the passwords, and we've been trying to get those. We spoke with him this afternoon, and we can't figure it out. So by the end of this week, we'll have a new one up and running, and we'll tie that to our Facebook page, so we should have both of those.
Does he have an email that was associated with that? Does he,
No,
when he set it up?
He's forgotten all of that, so he's left it to one department and then another department, so he switched emails twice, and so we've been having a lot of fraud cases lately, especially with seniors, and we have a program that we've been teaching to financial institutions. So Detective Ruiz and Detective Shumway are going to transform that program into something that we can teach to the elderly, and so we can go to like the senior center or put some programs on here so where the senior citizens can come down and we can educate them a little bit on some phone calls and some stuff so that they're not victimized so severely with fraud stuff that we've been getting to come through. A little bit of training information. We had active shooter training at the high school today. It went all day long. Was very successful. We had some team training, some single training. We infiltrated that with the fire department with some paramedic stuff so we could extricate some injured students during that active shooter training. And it was very successful, so it was a good learning experience for everybody. So
I appreciated the The truck with the signage on 200.
Yeah, we get a lot of phone
Yeah,
calls.
that's
People,
what I figured.
people panic and they freak out, so
So I thought that was
really
very,
good.
that
So,
was nice to have
yeah.
that informing people.
Brianna Wilding just finished a 2-week motor certification, and that's the motorcycle training. That's probably, I've worked here for 27 years, and that's the hardest training I've ever went through. It's really hard because you figure you're trying to navigate a 2,000-pound motorcycle through cones that are about this wide, going about two miles an hour, and you drop that motorcycle probably 500 times during the 2 weeks and pick it up. And so she took #1 in the Harley-Davidson part of the training for the state.
Wow.
So that's pretty incredible. And also, she is the #2 female rider in the state. So we have Lauren as #1 and Brianna as #2. So both female riders for motorcycles work for Pleasant Grove Police Department. So that's pretty cool.
Would it be appropriate to stand and clap for that one?
Yeah, no, they'll be out riding for Strawberry Days, and so they'll be
We
out.
need to blast that on social media.
Yeah, we will.
Awesome.
For sure. If you give me just a second, I'm going to give a quick rundown of the homicide, I just want you guys to understand the professionalism and the capability, how capable our officers are in this city. I was up and out for the whole thing, and it was just incredible how they worked together and worked as a team. And so I'll make it really quick. The call came out at 1:40 for shots fired in a neighborhood. Officers responded to the area. They were able to find a body in the street along with some assistance from American Fork Police Department. They set up a perimeter, had officers on the search for a suspect. No suspect was found in the area. They located a suspect with the help from the fire department. About 20 minutes later, near the cemetery, he was just about naked, had no clothes on. He admitted to the fire department that he did something very bad, and when our officers rolled up on him, he admitted that he had just shot his mother. So we had officers respond to that scene. I contacted Dion in the middle of the night, bless his heart. He responded down to shut the sprinklers off, because at that point we realized we had got him to admit that he dumped the murder weapon in his clothing in the cemetery. We didn't want the sprinklers to come on and ruin the secondary crime scene, so we had the crime scene at the house, crime scene at the cemetery. So we had our detective division respond out to the house and to the cemetery to work both of those crime scenes. They were able to recover all the bullet casings, all the bullets. They wrote 5 different search warrants that night and served all 5 search warrants. They were able to recover all the witnesses and the suspect and bring him down to the police department, do all the interrogations that night, respond to the medical examiner's office for the autopsy the next morning. And this happened on a Thursday night. By the next Monday, they had all of their reports done and all the evidence booked into evidence. We met with the county attorney this week, and they were utterly pleased with the way it went. So our police department is very capable, and they take their training very seriously, and they did a fantastic job on this case. So I just wanted to relay that information to you. I was very proud of them. They did a great job. One other thing, just on the working side, on Friday, just about time to go home, just before 5 o'clock, we had a carjacking down at the fertility clinic. A 60-year-old female was getting in her car, just leaving the clinic, and a large Polynesian male attacked her. She decided to fight back, trying to retain her vehicle. He beat her quite severely, knocked her out. She fell to the ground. Some people inside the clinic saw what was going on and came out and scared him off. He was able to run up. He made it to the Walmart parking lot where he carjacked Jimmy John's driver, pulled her out of her car while she was driving through the parking lot, jumped in the car and took off. He headed towards West Valley. Our detectives responded out. When he pulled her out, her cell phone was in the car, so we started a ping on her cell phone, and so they were able to track her vehicle through West Valley, and they listed it NCIC, which is stolen. And so while they were traveling to West Valley ended up picking the car off the pings on the cell phone and pulling the car over and arrested him for the stolen vehicle and for the carjacking and for large amounts of narcotics in the car. And so our detectives responded up there and took him to jail and did an interview where he ended up confessing to everything. And so he's going to prison tomorrow. So he waived all his rights. He's on parole, so the parole board's going to take him back to prison. So that was another good case. So.
And this all started just
The fertility clinic off of Pleasant Grove Boulevard,
And what time of day was it?
just before 5 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, it was right in the middle of the day.
So our guys are out there working hard. I just wanted to relay that. I'm proud of the way they're doing.
And how is the woman who was beaten?
She's okay now. She passed out. He knocked her out cold, and she was beaten pretty good, but she fought. He didn't get her car. So I don't know if that's worth putting your life on the line for, but
Yeah.
Well,
Just one comment about the homicide. This is a family that I love a lot.
me too. They're in my ward. I ended up having to give the death notification at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was really, really hard.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that you were there for that.
So, yeah.
I mean, friends for a
Yeah.
long, long time, and you can imagine the turmoil and ache for
Yeah.
them, their daughter and their grandson, and
Basically, 2 people lost their lives
and
that
their
night.
family.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm grateful that you were there.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Hey,
Good work.
if I ever get carjacked, if I can remember to
Yeah.
leave my phone in the car, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. How about our fire chief?
We expect you to top all that.
Hey,
I mean,
and both of you, I guess, are you getting all prepped for next week here? So anyway. so,
Yeah, it'll be a busy week next week. We
This
get prepping
Saturday
for it.
especially.
Yeah, Saturday's a breakfast, so we've been kind of prepping for that, getting all the ovens ready and all that fun stuff. So cross our fingers for a good turnout. I know right now the run's a little bit slim pickings for, people signing up for the run. I don't have to do with the whole, economy thing and all that stuff, but we're working on it, getting it out there and see what's going on. So. Yeah, we've got it out there. I think it's just one of those weird times, and I'm not sure what people are doing, but we've got it out there and see what we can come up with. But everything's going great. Department, there's not much to say than what we said out last week for our updates. We are losing. Zach Larson is leaving. His last day is going to be the 8th of this month.
Where's he going?
He's going to Murray. We've had the guys are pretty good with me. They come and talk to me quite a bit, and they let me know what's going on, and I got a pretty good rapport, majority of them. And he went back and forth quite a few times, but I think he just kind of finally decided to do that. And it's kind of a little loss for us. He's my engine boss. He's my wildland guy. He does real good. Yeah, and so we'll work around it. We'll get taken care of. He's going to stay on part-time with us and still help us do a few things. He's done a lot. He made a map book up for us just recently that has the whole interface on the east side of the city for being able to get in and out of places, all these homes. So he's done a lot of work for us. He's a good kid, and he just kind of what he wanted to do.
So if we get called up to fight a fire out of state, would he have led that?
So for right now, the way it sits right now with the EMACs, it depends if it's a federal EMAC, it depends how they ask for what kind of minute. If they want just engines to respond just to protect homes, we can go.
Okay,
Because it's just structural stuff. But if they require any kind of wildland stuff, we're gonna have to have a wildland boss or a engine boss to do that. So we'll work on that and see when we come. What Jack Pixler's working on his right now, but it takes some time to get those signed off in his task book. You have to be on quite a few fires to get things signed off, but we're working on that. So with that, like I say, everything's going good. I got Jack. He's getting ready to go to paramedic school in August. He'll start in August, and so that'll be good for us doing that. We're gonna
who's doing that?
Jack Pixler.
Okay,
He's ready to go to medic school, so he'll be doing school. We're gonna look at possibly doing in-house. I'm seeing how many part-time guys I have that are interested in wanting to come over to take Zach's spot, and if not, we'll have to put it out wide and see what happens, see what we can get. It's kind of hard right now. A lot of cities around us are testing, and everybody's kind of robbing each other for guys, and it's just kind of this weird time right now. So we'll just kind of see what happens and go with that. But with that, it's, our engine's in service. We've got, Strawberry Days coming up, the breakfast, the run, all
what
that
about
stuff.
fireworks? Are we good to go? It's still going to be,
There's everything's still the same. Nothing's really changed at this point. The state hasn't come down with anything. I know I've heard rumors of, banning stuff, but I don't think it's gonna happen right now. We'll probably keep our same, no fireworks zone that we did last year right now. Nothing's changed with that, and so.
so we'll do it on Monday, July 4th, I'm assuming.
But yeah, the July 4th will still be at Discovery Park, down there, and that's all still set up, ready to go, so.
Awesome.
And then you got the 2 days for Strawberry Days for the rodeo fireworks, those 2 days, so.
Okay.
Other than that, I think, yeah, like I said, we've been real busy. Real quick, Chase, Chief Gustman and Chief Larson, we've been training with all these local cities all around us. We call this kind of North End Alliance. They've put in probably 80+ hours or more working with a recruit camp that we put on with people, new people that want to get hired. So we get a good chance to look at these new people. So if something comes up, we get hired, we can see these people and get a good chance to do it. But they went up there and helped teach them. They went through all the Fire 1, Fire 2, and hazmat stuff, as I helped went through all those courses, so they're ready to go. It's kind of this North End with the chiefs, we got together and thought, we need to find people that we want, that we can look at and groom and do that. So it's worked out real good with that. And then also with that, we've been training with all these other cities just with the full-time duty crews. So every once in a while, you may see a AF engine down here or maybe a Lone Peak engine. And that's because we're sending our guys to their stations to train with all the other cities, and we're just kind of switching around, covering each other. So we can do that. It happens like once a month. So it's not all the time, but it's just something that we get together. We can go over our standard operating procedures and work together. So as mutual aid gets more and more common, we're on the same page, and it'll work smoother and work better. So you might see that, just so you guys know. But other than that, just keeping busy and we're going. So.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Okay, let's do Parks Department. Director Giles.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we did the Memorial Day program and stuff. Sherry did a great job with that. We had quite a few people out there. We had a lot of compliments. And we put up not new signs. We had signs, but we put them up earlier, right at the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend. As far as our cleanup goes, the guys this morning cleaned up, and they were done by 10 o'clock. So the signs really worked, and a lot of people came in, picked up their, the things that they wanted off of the graves and took those home. Last weekend, we had our trail day. Participation wasn't as good as we had liked, but we got a lot of stuff done. They decommissioned a trail in Phase 3 that was causing some safety issues, where we'd have bikers want to downhill it really quick and a bunch of switchbacks, and they did a great job with that. And then they rerouted about 60 feet on rows, and they did a really good job with that too. Jason, you guys all saw him. He's been up here since last Wednesday. Great help, a lot of suggestions. He also flagged what we're going to call the Itty Bitty Trail right there at the base of Valley Vista at the trailhead. And this trail is like a 0.5 or 15 of a mile. Just a little loop, couple little loops actually. There's a little loop for striders that the parents can sit there and watch them. And there's a lookout as it kind of goes off into the brush that the parent will put a bench and stuff there in the future. But it's just a little loop that the strider bikes and the kids that are just barely beginning to ride can get on and get comfortable, and the parents can watch them. Well, it was amazing on trail day. If we would have had half of the bikers come and help us, we would have had 200 people. It was crazy day up there with the bikers, but it was interesting because a lot would come up. What are you doing? And we tell them it's trail day. Let us go on a ride, because they don't want to get in there. They all use these click-in shoes. I don't know nothing about it, but shoes that click into their bikes, and they'd go home and change and come back and help. So it was awesome. So we have a great community that way. But yeah, we've had a couple busy weekends, headed into a couple more busy weekends, and then we'll head into the 4th of July. So we're looking forward to Strawberry Days. I think we're ready to roll. So that's all I had.
Thanks, Dion. Let's do Public Works. Director.
Just like everybody, there's a lot happening in Public Works. There's a lot of projects. There's a lot of projects in every phase of the step, as you guys are in this early stages of talking about it. Well, you guys talked about projects many years ago, and you've funded projects. We have projects that are wrapping up. We have private development that's wrapping up. We have private development that's just starting and just submitted. We have public works projects that we're getting in the planning stages of how to execute and fix small deficiencies that we do with our in-house crews. And then we have projects that are under construction and in the bid phase that are coming up. So there's a lot happening, a lot of roads that you're seeing some cones, you're seeing some new black surface coming on, and we have to watch all those pretty closely. We've got 12 contractors out digging holes still and boring pipes out everywhere. And so we're trying to keep track of all of those holes, all of those spots, and all of the tickets that come in for asphalt and concrete, and then also keep things rolling along. So we are just lucky to have the staff that we have. We run a lean ship, and we're doing the citizens a solid with the work that's happening and with the funds that have been allocated towards those projects. So you saw the street sweeper out there. That was after hours. We're going to do some more street sweeping in preparation of Strawberry Days at later hours when there's cars that aren't on the road, and up and down 200 South. And that's the report for now.
Hey, where are we at with our new well? When are they going to test that well, or they already have?
They haven't test pumped that yet. So they did the swab. They're prepping for the swab and cleaning up all the gravel around it. We're waiting for that specialized person. There's only one group that does that just right in the whole western United States pretty much. So we're waiting our turn. As soon as that's complete, we'll test pump. And we're in the design phase of the building itself. And so once that all happens, it'll be a quick, and the building will go up and we'll start putting water into the system.
Have we bid out our building?
No,
yet?
we have not.
Okay.
We're in the design phase. We need to test pump it and get the flow rate nailed down before we order up that pump and all the switch gear and all the interior components that will match up with that flow rate.
So you think we got a good well?
We've got a good well. We've got a good well. There's the 2 more steps with the swab and the test pumping, and but all indicators point to a fabulous well in a fabulous location for our community.
Okay. Any other questions for the director? Okay. Well, Sherry, we left you to last tonight. Unless Aaron has anything for us tonight. You have any more? You've been the star of the show tonight, Aaron. Nothing more for me. Okay, all right. You can fill in for Daniel. That's what you have.
Well, my staff has been busy creating decorations in the library. It's so creative. You should, if you haven't been in the library for a little while, now's a good time to go in because it looks amazing. The theme is Oceans of Possibilities, and the stuff these guys can do with Dollar Tree things is incredible. Pool noodles and lanterns, all sorts of stuff. They are amazingly talented. And then we have our opening party tomorrow at Veterans Park. Excuse me. That'll go from 10 to 12 in the morning. Last year there was a windstorm that blew everything over before we could even start, and we had to cancel it. So, but nothing like that's in the forecast, at least for tomorrow. And Kate, who sang and played the trumpet at the Memorial Day program, she is going to teach the kids how to play the ukulele. And they're having what they're calling a luau. Having lived in Hawaii, it's not really a luau, but you know. Utah-style luau. No pork or taro. But anyway,
No poi, that's a good thing, no?
I actually love poi.
Something's wrong with you.
Now, let me educate you for a second about poi. It's like, people always get given poi when they're in places like the Polynesian Cultural Center, and it's always by itself, and you have this tiny taste. Now imagine what a mashed potato without any butter, salt, or sour cream would taste like in a tiny taste.
It tastes a lot better than poi.
So poi you eat with other things. Most people don't eat it alone. It's always a bite of poi with a bite of fish or something like that. Anyway, I digress. So, but yeah, we got the Arts Commission to buy 20 ukuleles that were on sale on Facebook. She's teaching lessons, and the kids are going to be able to try to do it themselves. And we got a bargain. And so anyway, it's going to be a fun party, and it looks like the weather's cooperating. And then we will be marching in Cedar Hills and Pleasant Grove parades. The weather's not cooperating there. It looks like 95 degrees, but that's okay. Cedar Hills is only a mile. So yeah, and one of the people on the library board, Taylor Anderson, right? Yeah, is letting us use his yellow Corvette and returning it into a submarine, for our Oceans of Possibilities theme. So, and yeah, it'll be fun. That's it.
A lot of good things going, Sherry. Thank you.
Yes, we do. Thanks.
Okay, we'll turn the time back to our city administrator to talk about our June 21st meeting. You got anything for Scott?
Kathy, can you remind me what we have on the 21st? Did you send me an email?
Don't we have to approve a budget?
No, we're doing that in August because we're doing truth and taxation.
There is the RDA budget that we'll have to approve, so that's on there.
I think that's it for now. So,
I'll be on the next meeting.
okay, on the 21st. I'm sure there'll be more once we get to it, but right now, pretty light.
Okay. Is there any calendaring things we need to go over with the council here? No, everybody knows the schedule of this coming week with the Strawberry Days, starting Saturday here.
Actually, Friday is the pickleball tournament, which several of us are
Friday
competing in.
is?
Friday night is the
Ooh.
Eric, Scott,
I'll be there.
me. Yeah, this is serious.
Mine's Saturday.
Okay, you're just like, mine's Friday night, so
What time does it start?
7 p.m.
At night?
At night.
Well, that'll be 95, so that'll work
Yeah,
good for you
yeah.
guys. It'll be fun to see you sweat. Yours at noon, huh? Okay. All right, well, we got a lot things to do this coming week with Strawberry Days and everything that's going on here, so that's, so we'll start over here with you have anything else? Councilmember Jensen.
I do. We had a great ribbon cutting for us in arts on Main Street. Emily has served on many of our committees before, library, arts, and so tremendous business, what she does there and offers. She's also helping, if you notice, across the way on Testouts wall, it's pink right now. It's taking shape. Now we're going to let the pros come in and put in some special things for Strawberry Days. We'll just say that. Stay tuned for Thursday. So
Okay.
that wall will be happening. Then the concert on Main is happening on Saturday. Food trucks will start rolling in on 6 p.m. There will be a small vendor fair in the park going on at the same time. At 7 o'clock starts the concert, Salamanders. Ready to roll.
Okay, good job, Eric. I've excused Councilmember Williams. He had a previous engagement, so he's left us this evening. Councilman Bullock.
I don't have anything.
Anderson.
Excited for this to all get going. This is the best time of the year.
Councilmember Lamont. Okay, that would, thank you, and we look forward to this next And I thank all the council members who helped participate last night on our cleanup, which was me and Councilmember Lamone. So anyway,
I will say
we were glad you
this.
guys all helped out.
Thank you for the recognition.
I will say this, Mayor. I would have much rather been there. I was told that I was going to High School Musical at Sarah. Yeah, I would have much rather been cleaning Main Street. But one of our locals, Tina Fontana, was part of it, and she was the star of the show. So there was that.
Okay, you're supporting her then?
I was supporting
Okay.
her.
So it was good then, huh?
Well,
Her part was good.
Eric and I and Sid were up at the Discovery Park, and I didn't see the mayor there.
I showed up before everybody left.
I just,
So anyway,
just saying.
that was right, okay. So, but that, if there's nothing else that we need to discuss this evening, anything from the council or anyone else, I ask for a motion to adjourn. We have a motion from Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Bullock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If anybody